Welcome back, Source Nation. Now here's your host, Kathy B.
Welcome back, Source Nation. Welcome back. You're listening live right here on the Ladies Lounge. I am your host, Kathy B. We have about an hour before we lose the live feed. Telephone number to reach us tonight is 619-924-0933. Again, 619-924-0933. Well, I am so excited because we have another beautiful lady here in the studio with us. I'm going to be speaking with Miss Dawn Lewis. She is a contributing author for Women Inspiring Nations. You know, I've had the opportunity to speak with some dynamic women in reference to this book. They have given us some great stories and definitely some inspiring messages that we can take away. And I know that Dawn is going to be doing the same thing here. I do believe that Dawn is in the studio with me. Dawn, hello, and welcome to the Ladies Lounge. How are you this evening?
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm doing well, thank you.
Awesome. Well, you know, I've had the opportunity to speak with some amazing women that have contributed to the book, Women Inspiring Nations, and I'm excited now that I have you in the studio. So if you will, if you could take a moment just to introduce yourself to the ladies here in the lounge, and we'll jump right into our conversation from there.
Hi, my name is Dawn Lewis. I'm currently the program director for the Caroline Center, which is an education and training program for women. We train women in the healthcare fields of certified nursing assistant, geriatric nursing assistant, and pharmacy technician. I'm also pursuing my doctorate degree in psychology, and my specialization is organizational diversity.
Wow. Awesome. Well, Dawn, again, thank you so much for being here on the Ladies Lounge, and definitely we are looking forward to hearing the story. Well, you are a contributing author to Women Inspiring Nations, and as I stated, that I've had the opportunity to speak with some amazing women, and we've had the pleasure of hearing some amazing journeys. So talk to us, Dawn, if you will, in reference to your contribution to the book, and why was it so important to place your message there?
Well, my chapter is called Open to the Possibilities, and it discusses 3 events in my life that basically shaped me to be on the path that I'm currently on in terms of educating women. One of the biggest events was my relocation from the Washington, D.C. area to Baltimore, and it was out of a number of things, a domestic violence situation as well as addiction. And part of my healing when I first came to Baltimore was to immerse myself in community activism, particularly around assisting women improve the quality of their lives. And I felt like the perfect way for me to begin to heal myself was to assist women in their own healing.
Mm-hmm. I find that is very important, Dawn, and thank you so much for sharing that with us and to start the conversation. I love the fact that you stated that you wanted to help women, whether they are coming from the same situation that you have come from, but yet wanting to inspire them and go further within education. So I find that to be a very exciting and very commendable to you. Talk to us a little bit more. You mentioned that you moved from D.C. to Baltimore to really reshape your life. Talk to us a little bit about that and where you were in time to where you are now. Can you talk to us about that?
Sure. Like I said, I was kind of escaping a domestic violence situation, and during that relationship, I had started to use drugs, and even after the relationship ended, my drug use continued. I used to use in isolation, and I realized that my life was spiraling out of control. And eventually I did go into treatment and came home from treatment knowing that I had to do something different. And, of course, one of the things that they talk about in treatment programs, at least back then, was changing people, places, and things. Mm-hmm. And so part of my effort to recreate myself was to change the place. And it just so happened that when I was going to meetings, one of the things that I talked about all the time was needing to get a job. And in one of those meetings, a guy talked about some people that he knew that was hiring, and he connected me to them, and they were located in Baltimore, and they gave me an opportunity to start over again, basically. Mm-hmm. I commuted from D.C. to Baltimore for about a month, but one of the principals in this small consulting firm that hired me helped me get an apartment and basically helped me start rebuilding my life in terms of my own place and getting a car and navigating this new city and connecting me to people and resources to, again, help to rebuild my life. And it literally was a rebuilding of my life.
Right. And somewhat like a second chance, giving you the
Absolutely.
opportunity. Yeah, giving you the opportunity really to do things in a different light and do things in a better way. So let's talk about that, because you stated that you were in an abusive relationship, and from that abuse you turned to drugs as a coping mechanism. Talk to us a little bit about that, because although I've never been on drugs and I haven't been in a domestic situation, but just speaking with women over the years, this is something that they stated that it's been very hard to do, but you have to be diligent in the walk, meaning that it's going to take you time to get over the past, but committed to be new or renewed. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. And so let me just say that there were issues that I had left unresolved that also contributed to my drug use. It just so happened that the man that I was dealing with at the time, I guess, kind of helped solidify that I still had those issues unresolved. So he wasn't the blame per se of my drug use, but using with him help to make it more of this distraction and self-destruction than, has he not come into my life. Let me put it that way. And so absolutely leaving that relationship and getting into treatment was the first step in me trying to get my life together. And one of the things that I say to people often is it's one thing to be clean of mind or mood-altering substances, but it's another thing to do the work that, provided a playground for one's use. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it was that work that I started to do, and I talk about reading Iyanla Van Zant's Tapping the Power Within. So treatment, and then moving to Baltimore and finding a bookstore that had a lot of different self-development books.
Okay.
That found the Iyanla book. And also getting involved with this organization called the National Black Women's Health Project was also very instrumental in me recognizing that, that I wasn't necessarily a bad person because I had gotten involved in some bad things. So that helped to facilitate some forgiveness for myself. Mm-hmm. And then also, like I said, being able to connect with other women who had experienced their own trauma and or drama that led to them making some bad decisions, and now we're trying to recover from those kinds of decisions, was very helpful for me too, because I could not only walk my own walk, but set an example of a walk for someone who may have experienced similar kinds of things. And ultimately, we all have stuff that we deal with, and how we deal with that determines, what our future is going to look like. And sometimes we have to press the restart button in order to start fresh and new, and again, forgive ourselves for choices that we've made up until that point.
I love that you just said you have to forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself. And I relate to that so much, Dawn, because on this platform I talk to the women about some things that I lost in my journey. One being that I worked for a Fox affiliate here in the city where I reside, and I lost that contract. They would not renew my contract. Not only that, a home that I had built for me and my boys the time I was married, but was going through some difficult times in my marriage. So I ended up divorcing, and the home that we built, it was foreclosed on. So I had to reshape my life in many ways. Didn't have a job, now a single mom, and no home. So I had to come up with some things. So I definitely understand when you say, forgive yourself, because I had to forgive the fact that, I depended upon the job that I had. I depended upon the man that I thought I was going to be married to for the rest of my life, but yet I did not have the concept of, possibly, Kathy, you may not have this one day, so what are you going to fall back on? So I had to forgive myself in that area. So I definitely understand that. I want to talk to you, if I can, in reference to, now that you are in Baltimore and you know that you had to move away from D.C., because to me that sounded as though that was like a temptation. It was a grounds for temptation there. So you had to move away, start something fresh. Talk to us a little about the journey, because leaving behind what you have known for so long to now something that's new, and you're wanting to be free of that. How can you free yourself of a situation like that? Can you talk to the ladies about that, being able to free yourself?
Well, first of all, I wasn't in D.C., for that long. I mean, it's not like I was raised in D.C. I was actually raised in Delaware. So, and when I graduated from college, I moved to Philly, and I was there on my own, for a couple of years, and then I moved to D.C. And my move to D.C. was to basically help my father run his office, because he had just opened a consulting firm. So moving wasn't really the thing that was challenging. The thing that was challenging was making a choice for myself that put me on the path of personal development and spiritual discovery. And I was intentional about the spiritual discovery because I've kind of walked through my life being aware of signs and symbols, and I talked about this in one of my other interviews, but not really tuning into the signs and symbols. And so when I left D.C. and came to Baltimore, I became more intentional about paying attention to the signs and symbols that would affirm the steps that I was taking and on the path that I was on. So when I talk about being involved in the National Black Women's Health Project and how that kind of informed me in terms of forgiving myself and assisting other women. And then I was able to get the work that I was doing there, kind of led me to doing contract work in the city jail here with women, and doing job readiness training with them. And, running and facilitating a women's support group where I led discussions on the challenges of being a woman and a black woman and, a woman that's in relationship, and, so all those things not only helped me in terms of affirming the path I was on around dealing and working with and supporting women, motivating women, coaching, mentoring women, but it also confirmed for me who I was becoming spiritually.
Yes.
And one of the things that I talk about is I'm an unapologetic black woman reconciling my spiritual development and evolution with my worldview. And in many ways it's very challenging to kind of, be open to the possibilities while you see possibilities being diminished all around you. So, and that's the struggle that I find myself in even today.
Powerful. I love that. Now, let's talk about, and I want to transition over because you mentioned that you really had the opportunity to work with women, mentoring them, and really speaking with them about changing their lives for the better. I want to talk about that, Dawn, because I found that to be very important. I actually had the opportunity a few years ago to work with women that are reacclimating themselves back into society after being incarcerated. And when I tell you that I was so blessed by being around those women and hearing some of the stories that they shared with me, and the fact that, they now have an opportunity to get back into society and really begin to make a difference in the world, it was so beautiful to see and beautiful to hear. If you will, please, share with the ladies about that and the fact that you mentioned that gave you great pleasure and that gave you joy by doing that. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So at the time that I was going to what was called at that time the Baltimore Detention Center, working with women every Saturday for 2 hours for 2 years, I was also, my full-time job was as an administrator with T. Rowe Price. So Monday through Friday, I was on that grind, and then on Saturdays is when I got my life, basically, because I would go into the Baltimore City Detention Center, and as humiliating as that can be, and just in terms of the security protocols that you have to go through, once in there and working with the women and talking to them and hearing their stories and offering advice and a different perspective, a different way of looking at things, and seeing the light bulbs go off, and it was the best thing that I could have done for myself at that time. And I've actually kind of come full circle in that, because in my current role as the program director, while I'm a strong administrator, the best part of my job is teaching the personal leadership class, which is an opportunity for me to really engage the women around their own personal development and professional development and how to be effective in their relationships, personal and professionally. So, so the stuff that I do to make the money, while it's okay, the stuff that brings me joy, the stuff that feeds my soul, is when I actually get to engage the women in a more intimate environment. Even though we talk about specific things in the curriculum, there's always room to add some new and refreshing conversation around stuff that's happening right now in their lives. And that is the best part of my job ever. the best part of my job. It really, I promise you, it's just, because I'm a firm believer in the power of women, and not just individually, but the collective energy of women who are really trying to do the right thing for themselves, for their families, for their communities. It's unstoppable, which is one of the reasons why I was so grateful and honored to be selected to be a part of this project, Women Inspiring Nations, because it really is what we do as women, whether we know it or not. And I think that the more conscious we become of that collective power, the more effective we can be in the world to make it a better place, literally.
Wow. Yes, I love that. I love that. So, we are speaking with Miss Dawn Lewis. She is a contributing author for Women Inspiring Nations, and, of course, tonight she is sharing her amazing journey with us. I want to pick up where you just left off, Dawn, when you basically said that you were very grateful and thankful that you were able to contribute your story. As I mentioned, I've had the opportunity to speak with several of the women here, a part of Women Inspiring Nations, and one of the questions that I've asked all of them, because media has depicted that African American women cannot work together, which you and I both know that that's not true, because we can. And it is powerful when we can come together and begin to talk about our stories, talk about the things that affect us, but yet come up with solutions that are working to make a difference and that are making a change. So let's talk about that, because you have made a difference in so many women's lives, and they have made the change for the better. Talk to the ladies listening tonight about that, and why is that so important to be, to make a difference and to make a change and to grow from there. What are your thoughts?
I think the most significant thing a woman can do is do her own work.
Oh, yeah.
In her own work around healing, because, again, we've all experienced something that has created some kind of trauma for us, and the more we deny that or act like it's not real and not affecting who we are and how we show up in the world, we're fooling ourselves. So so if we do our own work, then that permeates to our families, our children. Women are the first teachers of their children, and so the more healed you are, the healthier you can be as a mother, right? And then if you don't happen to have children, and I don't, I'm a godmother of a couple of children, but I don't have my own children, but I'm keenly aware of the impact of the mother-child relationship and how important it is of a foundation for the child and or for the children. So doing your own work is revolutionary, in my opinion. And then if you are doing your own work and are also able to facilitate other women doing their work collectively and individually, then you've, again, harnessed a power that can have rippling effects in the world. And as far as working with women, when we do our own work, we are more accepting and non-judgmental of other women. And I tell my students all the time, they get real, they take stuff so personally. You know what I mean? When somebody says something or does something, they immediately feel like it's a slight or, something against them. And I tell them that the more you have your own self-knowledge and self-awareness, the more you love yourself. And the more those three things are working for you, the less likely you are to take what other people say or do as personal as you're currently doing.
Right.
So the more you fortify yourself with your own work around who you are, the good, the bad, the ugly, and work on that, the less likely you are going to, have a negative or adverse reaction to the inevitable other stuff that's going to come at you as you walk through the world.
Wow.
And I firmly believe that. And some of these women that I'm engaged in right now in my current class, they're starting to get that. We're at the halfway mark in the 15-week program, and they're actually starting to really understand that. Because they come to the first day and they're like, I don't do females, I don't do women, I don't, all these women, that kind of thing. And while we try to facilitate a community of women, that kind of stuff is going to rear its ugly head. But here we are halfway into this particular session, and the women are learning that lesson, that they are better together, working together to achieve their goal, individual goal, which is their certification. Working together is going to help facilitate that even more. And so to see that kind of unfold based on stuff that I've talked about in class over the last few weeks is not only rewarding, but it also, again, is very affirming.
I bet it is. I love that. I love the fact that, just as you said, they come in and they made that statement, but now they really see, working together you can achieve so much more. And I was there. I was there a few years ago, like I said, in this class, speaking to these women and helping them earn certifications and helping them become those types of citizens that they want back into society. That was one of the things that I heard the most was the fact that I don't do women. I don't want to work with her. And one of the things that I stated was, well, are you afraid that she may say something that you don't like? And one of the women basically said, well, that means that she's judging me. I said, well, guess what? There's no room to judge here because all of us have done some things that have not been right. But now we're at the point where we're going to make them right. We're going to correct those things. So we know that if we were to see it, hear it again, we know how to go around it and make it better for us. So that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things I tell the women, too, is that, for you to say that you don't do women or you don't like females, what does that say about how you feel about yourself? You know what I mean? And so, so my goal is for you to feel better about yourself so that you can feel better about other women.
Right. You got to love yourself. That's right. Love and feel better about you. Wow. I love it. I really love it. So let's talk about what you're doing now. After you've been able to tell your story to several folks and then definitely sharing it within the book, what are some of the things that you're receiving from that now? What are your responses now that you're receiving?
Well, everybody is thrilled. I have a handful of really good girlfriends who've been very supportive of me being a part of this project, and they've all, I guess, affirmed my choice to involve myself in this project. I've gotten, of course, people have purchased the book. Where I work, the organization that I work, is going to be featuring me and the book in the next newsletter, and it's also given me a little bit more confidence to really speak to what my talents are, and to kind of stand firm and not, as Cheryl would say, don't dumb down, speak highly of who you are and what you're bringing to the table, regardless of what that might be. And so, for me, this project has helped me be more confident about what it is that I've always been doing, and just didn't really pay attention to the value that it has, and the impact that it has on other people, particularly women. So it has kind of broadened my horizons. It's helped me to see myself doing bigger and better things, particularly once I finish with my my degree. So I'm excited. I'm really happy to be a part of it. I've connected with a couple of the women who are part of the project that are here locally. And we're planning things, connect other ways of socializing and connecting and doing business together. And so it's been a really good opportunity. And like I said, I feel very blessed and humbled to be included in the project, because a lot of the women that are involved in this project are powerhouses. You know what I'm saying? And are really doing some stuff, in the world. And by association, I'm part of that. You know what I mean? And so I feel very blessed and humbled to be a part of the project and to be in connection with a lot of the women who are part of the project as well, particularly those of us who are still kind of finding our way compared to some of the other women who are very well established in what it is that they're doing, and have been very gracious in terms of offering assistance and helping those of us that are just starting in our entrepreneurial endeavors to, offer assistance to help us in that. So it's just been great. It's just been great. And I can honestly say that, all the women that I've come in contact with this project have been exactly who they said they are in terms of, being supportive of women and liking women and liking to work and hang out with women. So it can't get any better than that. It really can't. It can't get any better than that. And I said this in a previous interview that really, when you are in the room with women, it is, the energy is palpable, and you just can ride off of that energy for days and weeks at a time, literally.
Wow.
So
I love it. I love it. As we are wrapping up the conversation, and I want to leave it right there where you said, working with women that are doing some things in the community, in the world, and leaving behind positive messages as well as images. That's exactly what we need. So I want to table the conversation there, but also ask you, as we are wrapping up, what we typically do, Dawn, is either leave with some encouraging tips and advice, or maybe encouraging words that you can leave with the ladies tonight, because you've said some wonderful and amazing things. If you would like to contribute, I would love for you to do so at this time.
I would just say be open to the possibilities, and what I mean by that is that there are signs and symbols on your walk that will affirm or not the path that you're on, and be open to that, because sometimes you may need to do a change. But if you are being affirmed on the path that you're on, pay attention to that and keep doing what you've been doing.
Wow, love it. Thank you, Dawn. And also share with the ladies, how can we get more information about you and continue to support you in your efforts?
Okay, well, my social media is I'm on Facebook, Dawn Lewis. I'm on LinkedIn, Dawn Lewis. I'm on Twitter, Be More Libra Lady. And I just signed up for Instagram, and I'm Nubian Queen 2 on Instagram. So that's my social media footprint.
Awesome. Well, Dawn, again, thank you so much for being in the lounge with us tonight and definitely giving us some great information in reference to your contribution for Women Inspiring Nations, and definitely look forward to hearing more great things from you. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Well, Source Nation, you heard it right there from Miss Dawn Lewis. She is a contributing author and Women Inspiring Nations. And definitely what I love about our conversation, she mentioned that she is having the opportunity now really to speak to a lot of women, mentor a lot of women, and begin to change their lives for the better. You know, she mentioned that she was in an abusive relationship, drugs, that she turned everything around by understanding that her journey is greater. Is greater from that point of her life to where she is now, the difference that she has made. So I enjoyed speaking with her. All of her information and more can be found on Kathy B, Source Radio Network, as well as our main station page, Source Radio Network. And then, of course, a young lady in the first hour, Miss Adria Luster, all of her information can be found on Kathy B, Source Radio Network, as well as our main station page, Source Radio Network. Thank you so much for being here in the lounge with us. Definitely want to come back again next Friday where we'll have more dynamic, amazing guests and amazing conversation as well. You all have a wonderful and blessed evening. Good night.